What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Cjthecheesedj here, and we are back with another top 10 video for you guys today. And today we are taking a look at top 10 endgame dinos you all need to tame. Now guys, these are going to be some of the highest, strongest, pretty much toughest dinosaurs that you can tame in Ark, and that is pretty much what this list is going to comprise of. Now we'll be going over their abilities as well as reasons why you should be taming them. So guys, let's jump straight into the list and kick it off at number 10. Alrighty guys, so coming in at number 10, we have the Griffin. Now, a lot of you guys are going to be like, well, the Griffin's not an endgame dino, it's probably one of the dinos I go tame first. Fair enough, but most players don't go for Griffins straight away. Now, the reason they're also number 10 is because they can potentially kill you off your mount, depending on what mount you're using to try and kite them towards your trap, or whether or not you're just using them on foot to try to kite them towards the trap. You can get killed off a Griffin because of their speed. For example, if you were using an RG to kite them towards a trap, you could potentially lose your RG because the Griffins do have the capabilities to kill your RG. But other than that, these guys are great endgame dinos, and namely due to the fact that they can travel the map real quick due to their gliding ability, as well as that they also have the capacity to deal rather large amounts of damage due to their dive bomb attack. So you can see here, we've got this little iguanodon. We didn't pull it off. Well, that's awkward. So, as you guys are probably well aware, the Griffins do have dive attacks, and you can actually perform those attacks on creatures in the area. You can see there, that was our dive bomb attack at 290. They also have another attack, which is the claw swiping attack, which does a lot more damage than their initial bomb attack. However, that attack is very centered towards a particular tame. Oh, you can see there we totally did not pull that off either. So yeah, the Griffin is one of those dinos that people are like, do I tame this first or do I get my resources, get some other tames going and then tame it up? As well as that, the Griffin does have the capabilities of holding 3 riders as well, due to it having a passenger seat, which you guys can see here, and it also has the ability to pick up a player by using the secondary attack. So guys, the Griffin comes in at number 10 on the list. And let's move on to number 9. Alrighty guys, and coming in at number 9, we have none other than the Toothless. Now, the Toothless, in my opinion, is probably the best underwater mount in the entire game. Now, and he is definitely an endgame tame due to his taming method. So the way you tame this guy up is you pretty much jump on a mount, you get grappled by them like you can see what we're doing to this plesiosaur, and then while you are riding, or your mount that has been grappled, you jump off and you feed it a black pearl through its little mouth. These guys are technically passive tames, but due to them having this grapple attack and just dealing a lot of damage like this, they can be rather difficult to tame, and you do need to make sure that you have a pretty strong either turtle, mosasaur, or megalodon available to tame the Titanosaur, and or even a plesiosaur. Plesiosaurs will do the job as well. But these guys are great for diving into the subterranean depths. They can easily handle alpha mosasaurs as well as alpha megalodons and such. And you can see here, this poor mosasaur has just been grappled by us and he's getting absolutely destroyed. He's unable to attack us, and you can utilize this method on alphas, pretty much preventing you from taking any sort of damage while fighting an alpha mosasaur. So these guys are great for that purpose, and I would heavily recommend getting them as an end game dino. So guys, let's move on to number 8. Alrighty guys, and coming in at number 8, we have the Giga. Now, a lot of you guys are going to be wondering, wow, whoa, CJ, what is going on? Why is the Giga so high up on the list? We've got a valid reason. So the Giga is definitely an end game dinosaur, like without a doubt. I would heavily recommend getting one of these bad boys up. But the reason he's so much higher on the list than you probably would expect is because in the end, all he is, taming-wise, is a simple knockout tame. A lot of the other dinos on this list aren't actually knockout. Well, they are knockout tames, but they are slightly different and slightly harder. That's why I believe the Giga has a higher spot on this list. Now, I don't know whether or not you guys are going to totally rage at me or not, but like I said in the beginning of the video, this is based solely on my opinion and my interactions with the game, and I think the Giga is definitely deserving of the number 8 spot. He is hands down one of the strongest dinosaurs in the game, able to dish out probably some of the highest DPS out of any of the dinosaurs, I believe. The only thing is obviously he's lacking an extreme amount of stamina. You can pump that up, but it doesn't really go up too much. but these guys are extremely powerful. You can see there, this guy's got 18.2k health. This is without any mutations. This is just your standard wild tame 150. So these guys and their power is absolutely undeniable. They are so incredibly strong, and they are definitely well deserving of an end game dino spot on this list. So let's move on to number 7. And coming in at number 7, we have the Basilisk. Now, the Basilisk is definitely an end game dino. Main reason being because of his taming method. So the way you tame basilisks is you pretty much feed them rock drake eggs. Now, the only way to get rock drake eggs is obviously by collecting them on aberration in the rock drake trench. Now, if you guys haven't been down there before, it gets absolutely crazy. You've got rock drakes coming in from every single angle, coming in at you and just absolutely wrecking the face off anything and everything. The only real way you can get in there and actually take the eggs is obviously if you take like a couple of Spinos or Megalosauruses, get them into fight and fight off the rock drakes as they come. Other than that, it's extremely difficult to go about getting a rock drake egg any other sort of method. You can use the Ravager and Zipline method, but it isn't that great of a method in my opinion. So the Basilisks are definitely an endgame dino just from their taming aspect. As well as that, these guys have huge, and I am talking freaking colossal sized weight pools. You can see here, this is a 150 tame Basilisk, and he has 3,432 weight. That is nuts. As well as that, they've also got 11k health, 2,500 stamina. So these guys are absolutely crazy. Now, some of their abilities do include the poison spit attack, which does do damage to the rider if you aren't careful. For example, if you were to ride through the own poison gas, you would actually take damage. Only reason we're not taking damage is because we've got creative mode on. But you can see there, that does also deal torpor damage. So you can potentially knock out a creature, but you probably wouldn't be going for that effect if you're using it on the Basilisk. So you can see here, the Basilisk does have the ability to bury it underground if it doesn't want to. Okay, it's kind of just shat itself now. And pretty much all that's exposed is his little tail end. Now, you can potentially use these guys as portable vaults because of how big their weight pool is. Now, mind you, this guy isn't even leveled up like I said, but look how ridiculous their weights can get. You can use these guys as pretty much bases because you can store so much in them. They're ridiculous. So guys, the Basilisk comes in at number 7 as an endgame dino. Alrighty guys, and coming in at number 6, we have the Rock Drake. Now, similarly to the Basilisk, the Rock Drake is found on aberration, and he's kind of got the same taming method, I guess you could say. The only difference is that you actually have to steal the fertilized rock drake egg, get out of the rock drake trench, and then physically raise the rock drake. Now, the reason the rock drake is higher on the list than the Basilisk is because you actually have to raise the rock drake egg, and you actually have to hatch the rock drake egg. And if you don't have a certain amount of air conditioners or do it in a certain spot, you can't actually hatch the rock drake egg because it will die. So you've got to be very careful when it comes to hatching the rock drakes. Now, as well as that, you then have to raise them, and for them to be raised, you actually have to feed them nameless venom. Now, nameless venom is only gathered from, obviously, nameless, and you do have to kill quite a large amount of nameless in order to get enough to raise a rock drake. And in that time, you could definitely come face to face with some Reaper Kings. So guys, the rock drake comes in at number 6 because of these reasons. Now, the rock drake itself does pack quite a wallop wherever it goes, dealing quite a bit of damage. You can see here, we're hitting for 179, 120, only because they're mate boosted. As well as that, he does have some pretty cool abilities. So he has the ability to go invisible when he's actually got the stamina to do so. As well as that, he also has the ability to glide and to climb up pretty much any structure, shape, or form. So you can see there, we've just gone invisible. It does make the rider invisible as well. You can use this to duke enemy players as well. And there you go. You can see the glide ability as well as the dash ability, which pretty much propels him forward and does deal damage to anything he hits, which can be real helpful when traversing the terrain. Now, as well as that, like I said, he does have the ability to climb up pretty much any surface or terrain. He's very similar in regards to the Megalania, which has the same ability to do so, and you can use this to pretty much scale base walls as well as mountain cliffs and trees for that matter. So we'll just demonstrate to you guys real quick. Here we go. So you can see here we're climbing up this mountain face, and we can climb straight up to the top. We can also come over to this tree here and climb up the tree. So guys, the Rock Drake comes in at number 6. So guys, coming in at number 5, we have the Rock Elemental, or the Rock Golem, whatever the heck you want to call him. This guy is an absolute unit, and he just demolishes anything and everything in his way. And he does so by absolutely gathering every single thing in the area. Now, the Rock Golem isn't an easy tame, and I would say he's probably more on the side of harder tames, mainly due to you needing a cannon or rocket launcher to knock him out. If you do use a rocket launcher, good luck. I would heavily invest in using a cannon, otherwise you're gonna probably kill him with the rocket launcher. Now, this guy is definitely an endgame dino because of his stopping power. You want to use rock golems to pretty much soak enemy bases that have turrets or heavy turrets. If they've got tech turrets, that's where you kind of want to watch out, and you want to back your rock golem away from those because they will shred him to smithereens. He will put up a bit of a fight against them, but he will be defeated by them eventually. And you can see here he had a 15k base health. We've pumped that up to 20k, and this is absolutely invaluable when it comes to soaking turrets, because the turrets do like 20 damage a pop for heavies, and you've just got like a massive rock monster, and you can soak while riding on him. So that's another thing as well. You can see that you can pretty much just walk forward like this, and he will protect you, the rider, from any bullets in front of you, which is great. If there are quite a range of bullets, you can always walk backwards as well, which is an option, but you probably don't need to do that. You should be able to do it walking forward. Now, in terms of his abilities, he does have the ability to throw rocks, do a C-spin attack, which kind of propels everything forward. You saw that poor Dimorphodon get launched into the Shadow Realm, and you can see there, boom, look at that. He's just an absolute stopping machine. Now, as well as this, you can jump off him and get him to go into a turret mode. So you can see here, if we go behavior, you can see enable turret mode, and this will pretty much cause him to throw rocks at, depending on his stance, anything really. So you can see there, if we chuck him onto aggressive, you start throwing rocks at everything. So you can definitely use these guys to defend your base as well. Have a couple of them standing on aggressive inside some leashes or weighed down, and they'll just lob boulders at anything that comes their way. Now, as well as this, you can also disguise them as a rock if it wants to work. There we go. So you can see there he's going down into rock form. Boom. And just like that, he looks like a rock. So you can set up a couple of these guys outside your base, and when you're ready, get your opponent out into the open, and boom, surprise them with a couple of rock elementals that they definitely will not like. So guys, the rock elemental is definitely an endgame dino, and he comes in at number 5 on this list. Alrighty guys, and coming in at number 4, he's even too bloody big to fit on my screen, is the Titanosaur. Now, the Titanosaur is hands down one of the highest endgame dinos that you can get. It's pretty much only tameable if you've got a tribe of at least 3 people, and you pretty much need to fly around on the back of a Quetz, launching cannon bolts into his head until he knocks out. So that's pretty metal, and it's pretty damn difficult to pull off. But when you do pull it off, you get this raging monstrosity that is capable of soaking entire bases, as well as decimating any pretty much dinos in the area, including tamed ones. These guys do insane amounts of damage, and you can build like mobile platforms on them for the duration of their tame. The only downside is that they aren't permanent tames, and they will eventually die off after a certain amount of time, depending on what server you play on and what their server rules are. But the Titanosaurs are hands down one of the biggest endgame dinos, mainly due to their taming method, because of you needing multiple cannons as well as Quetzals to pull it off. Otherwise, you can try and pull it off with Paraceratheriums, but it's extremely difficult to do so, and I would not recommend it. So guys, the Titanosaur comes in at number 4 on the list. Alrighty guys, and coming in at number 3, we have the Reaper King. Now, the Reaper King, Reapers in general, are one of the biggest, strongest, hardest taming dinos to get in all of Ark, and that is what makes them number 3 on this list of top 10 endgame dinos. Main reason being because you have to pretty much wander around on Aberration, look for a Reaper Queen, get impregnated by her, which involves you pretty much dealing a crap ton of damage to her, and then getting grabbed by her tail and getting impregnated, which sounds easy on paper, but due to Ark's many glitches and just Ark being Ark, it's a lot harder than it sounds. But the payoff is well worth it because you get this absolute monstrosity that is capable of tanking bases, capable of killing pretty much anything you put it up against, including Gigas. Like, these guys can easily go toe to toe. If you don't have a light pet present with you as well, that also increases their damage resistance, as light pets make them a lot weaker. So if your enemy does have light pets, you do want to be very careful and hesitant using your Reapers, because your the enemy's light pets will absolutely wreck your Reapers. But these guys are incredible mounts to get, and they are definitely one mount that you want to get right at the end game, because you're obviously going to need to use a lot of resources to take on a Reaper Queen, as well as enough dinosaurs and firepower in order to take out the Reaper Queen to get pregnated. Not only that, you then also have to raise the baby in your womb while getting experience points, and then you have to raise it when it's outside of your womb, and that is no fun, easy tasks to pull off either, because the Reaper Kings pretty much run around aggro as heck and they try and kill you, which isn't a really good thing. And then they can also glitch out as well because, hey, it's Ark. So you've just got to be really careful, and they definitely deserve the 3rd spot on this list of endgame dinos. So guys, let's move on to number 2. Alrighty guys, and coming in at number 2, we have the Phoenix. Now, the Phoenix is ridiculously hard and annoying to tame. He can only be found during heatwave events on Scorched Earth, and he's just one of those tames that definitely deserves an endgame. The reasons that I stated, he can only be found during a heatwave event on Scorched Earth. Once you've actually found him during the heatwave event on Scorched Earth, you then need to tame it up by using a bunch of flamethrower attacks. Now, you can use obviously a flamethrower, fire arrows, or a fire wyvern, which is hands down the best method. But guys, this guy is definitely worth it because, oh, look at him. Look how sick he looks. I mean, he does kind of look like a reskinned RG sort of, but he is just really cool. He's also got some pretty cool abilities, so you can see that he's able to fire bombs. He can do like a really fast flappy attack, which allows him to obviously set things on fire, as well as fly really fast. So if we can actually pull it off here, we'll try it again. Go Phoenix, let's do it. You can see here that will actually deal damage to the dinos in the area. So we did 35 damage and then 19 damage continuously burning. So these guys are definitely well deserved of the number 2 spot, and they are extremely difficult to tame, and if they're extremely worth it, I kind of think they are, but that's just me. So guys, let's move on to number 1. Alrighty guys, and coming in at number 1, we have the Titans of Ark. Now, I say Titans, I mean all 3 of them. So the Ice Titan, the Forest Titan, and the Desert Titan. These guys are hands down deserving of the number 1 spot on top 10 endgame dinos to tame. These guys are probably, in my opinion, the hardest creatures to tame in all of Ark. If you guys aren't aware of how to tame them, you pretty much have to hit their element nodes, which for the Ice Titan, one is located on the back of his ankle, on the underside of his arm, I believe, and then one on his head. Can't remember off the top of my head, but I'm pretty sure that's where they are. But in the end, these guys are definitely worth it. They have the stopping power of the Titanosaur, and they are definitely on par in terms of damage with him as well. Now, very similar to the Titanosaur, these guys aren't permanent tames as well, so you do have to be very selective when you use them. You can cross-server transfer them as well, which is really great for getting rid of those pesky alphas on the server, but these guys are just absolutely nuts, and they are totally worth taming at least once. Even if you guys have never played around with them, which I'm sure you have if you've got Extinction, you definitely need to give it a try on single player. It is totally worth it. These guys are absolutely awesome, and another added benefit that they have is in single player you can permanently keep them as well, and you can actually build permanent bases on the back of them, which is absolutely awesome for you as well, and you can just live off the back of one of these Titans. So guys, the Titans come in at number 1 on the list of Endgame Dinos in Ark. So guys, we're going to wrap up the video here. Let me know what you thought of the video down below. Let me know if there'd be any changes that you guys think should be there and stuff like that. But other than that, guys, thanks very much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe down below for more, and I will catch you in the next one.